y'all tonight. My name's Hough Tour. Here's Pat's going to be walking. I'm going to be talking. This is the cattle breeding word, the place of the chick pen. The cattle tribe lived here before the French were nut gathering tribe. Chick pen is a wild chestnut. There aren't many chick pen trees left in this area because the chestnut blight. As you'll recall in the movie Still Magnolia, was found called chick pen. That's where the name came from. Natchez is the oldest city in Louisiana purchased. It was established here in 1714 by the French village of the Natchez Indians to mark and defend the western boundary of Louisiana. The Spanish were occupying Texas, moving in an eastward direction. The French didn't want to come in the lower Mississippi River Valley, which they claimed was Louisiana. Well, after the French established the coast here, the Spanish found out. They came within 15 miles of here to establish a coast called Lost Dice, which for about 45 years was the provincial capital of Texas. It's now an archaeological site located near the little town of Berkeley, Louisiana. It's about 35 miles inside the present Louisiana town. At that time, France and Spain were in kind of a Cold War. They were competing over domination of the North American continent. And although the two nations were hostile toward one another, here on the frontier, the settlers just seemed to ignore that. They went right on trading with one another. They socialized with each other. They went to church together and married one another. The children are known today as the Creole people. Creole is a Latin word. It means created now or new beginning. And it refers to new people of a new colony. Natchez is one of the original Creole cities of Louisiana. Other Creole cities include Opelousas, New Orleans, and Point-de-Vie, which is now known as New Road. A Creole is anyone of French or Spanish ancestry born here in the colony. Some people think Creole means being a mixed color, and we do have a large Creole of color population here. They're Creole not because they're of mixed color. They're Creole because they descend from Creole. It was traditional for Creole gentlemen to have mistresses, and they were often slaves. Their children would be given their freedom. They'd be given inheritance of land and money. Creole of color plantation aristocracy down Cane River in the Albertville area. An example of a Creole of color plantation house is Melrose. I'm just doing a little promotional video today if y'all would like to join on the tour. Okay, where y'all from?
I'm from Manny.
Oh, okay.
How long is this take?
It'll be about 1 hour.
I'm sorry.
Don't have an hour. Okay, thank you. A more common example of Creole of color plantation house is our right, just beyond all the new construction there. It's called the Rock House. I'm going to pull up just a little bit where you can get a better look at it. The Rock House spelled R-Q-U-E. That's the family name. They're a Creole of color planter family in the Albertville area. That house was moved here in the late 1960s as a museum exhibit because it's a classic example of first phase Creole cottage style architecture. Notice that steep hip roof design. That was developed in northern latitudes. It shed snow from the roof so it wouldn't collapse. Here in the south, we don't really need it for snow, but it works well for our heavy rain. It has a chimney that goes down through the center of the house. It goes to 2 fireplaces, one for each of the 2 rooms of the house. They like heat from the center out. To cool the house, they had doors coming out from every room on every side, so they could just open the doors up and let the air circulate throughout the house. And it's got a wide porch or gallery that goes all the way around it, protected adobe like wall called buissage. Buissage is a mixture of clay, animal hair, and Spanish moss, and it's packed between posts made from heartwood cypress. Cypress heartwood's real rich in tannic acid. Termites can't eat it, and it won't rot. That house there is about 227 years old. There are older Busiage homes in the area. A couple of them are on the tour, and I will be pointing them out to you. The movie Still Magnolias was shot here in 1989. There are several locations along the tour I will be pointing out, one of which is the area right behind the rock house down here. Now we can't very well see it from here, but it doesn't look like it did back when the movie was shot here, but it is the location of the Easter egg hunt in Still Magnolias. Y'all recall that scene that Nell went into labor and her husband Sammy was in the park in his bunny suit helping his children hunt Easter eggs. He got on the back of a motorcycle, came out right past the rock house to the street below, came right up this ramp street, made a left down Front Street on their way to the hospital. This bus coming up on our right here is a very important man. That's Louise Ishrow, the Church of Montgomery, the founder of NACS. He did more for the development of Louisiana and Texas than any other man. He was a French-Canadian born in Beauport, Quebec, and educated in Paris. He was a soldier and knight of the Military Order of St. Louis. He was an explorer and Indian diplomat. He knew 7 Indian dialects as well as Spanish. After he established the post here at Natchez, recognizing the need for trade between the French and Spanish in the colonies, he took an expedition to the Rio Grande to the Presidio del Norte to acquire a trade agreement. When he arrived there, he was arrested, held, interrogated, and spent time in the dungeons of Mexico City. But when he returned to Natchez, not only did he have a trade agreement, he was also married to the Presidio Commandant's 18-year-old granddaughter, Emanuela. She was considered the most beautiful woman in northern Mexico. Old St. Denis was a real smooth talker, a real ladies' man, and a fancy dresser, a lot like our former Governor Edwards is today. Now, usually here, when I have a load of Texans, I like to add a little more content to it. In Texas, there's a debate as to which is the oldest city in Texas, San Augustine or Nacogdoches. Well, Louise Ishrow, the Sieur de Saint Denis, was very important in the establishment of both those settlements. When the French arrived in this part of the country, they found that the Spanish had been missionizing the Caddo Hidalgo Indians up on Caddo Lake. The Indians let the French know that the missionaries had left and they would like more missionaries in their village. So the French went to Mexico and told the Mexicans that if they didn't missionize the Indians of East Texas, present-day East Texas, they were going to missionize themselves. Now, my theory on this is that the French like trading among the Indians, but they like being able to travel to those villages by boat. Well, the rivers of Texas are not connected to the Mississippi River system, and the land required long stretches of mule trains to move goods across land, and the French preferred for the Spanish to do that rather than themselves. So they went to the Presidio, cut a deal with the Ramon family. The patriarch of the Ramon family was the commandant of the Presidio. They sealed the deal with a marriage to Emanuela, and a smuggling cartel was set up between Mexico and France. At that time, the colonies were operating under an economic system known as mercantilism. Under mercantilism, colonies were not supposed to trade between each other. They were to trade only with the mother country, and it was the mother countries that would trade between each other. Well, they just ignored that. It was due to that ignoring of the rules of mercantilism that made the survival of all the colonies in the Americas possible. When they cut the deal, Luis Ushero served as a guide to a Spanish expedition that came back this direction. Along the way, they left missionaries at San Augustine, Nacogdoches, and then Los Dias, 15 miles from Natchitoches. The city of Nacogdoches was probably the oldest city over San Augustine, but it was only by a few days. So I would say that the closeness in time that they were established was insignificant, so they're about the same age. I mentioned earlier that the park behind the rock house no longer looks like it did when the movie was shot here. It's now a beautiful garden called Beaux Jardin, and it is available for weddings and special events. But when the special events are not going on, it is open to the public, and this gate here is the entrance to it. I do recommend you check it out while you're here. It's got a beautiful circulating fountain. It's like a waterfall coming off the side of the hill, spilling down into the river. And if you like picnicking on the riverside, they do have picnic tables available for you. Now there's two really good places to eat down here on the north end of Front Street. One of them's directly ahead of us. It's called Maglio's on the Cane. And over to the left, across Washington Street, is Pioneer Pub. Maglio's has a deck and patio dining where you can enjoy your meal as you look down on the river. The best nights for good music and entertainment is Thursday night. On Thursday night, you can listen to music on the Maglio patio here from 7 to 9. After this music is over with, you can just cross the street there. At 9:30, Hardwick Rivers Review begins, and they play until midnight. Hardwick is the best blues, rhythm and blues Zydeco band in town. Now, the Pioneer Pump is in a building that's the oldest commercial building in the city of Natchitoches. It was originally the Pioneer Bank and Land Office. In 1828, there was a fire here in Natchitoches that started in the Catholic Church when candles set draperies on fire. It burned most of the city. And because of that, the oldest buildings in the commercial district here do date to around 1830. It was the Pioneer Bank and Land Office. Now, before James Bowie was a Texas war hero, he was a Louisiana land winner. And he spent a good bit of time right there in that land office researching Spanish land grants. He'd find out which land grants had absentee landlords. He would go out onto those land grants. He would find the squatters. He'd convince the squatters to file claims on their properties they were squatting on. He would then purchase those claims at a very low price, turn around and sell them to land speculators at a very high price. The next to the pub is the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, the Northwest Louisiana History Museum. there you can find exhibits on a lot of the great athletes of Louisiana. Also some good exhibits on the Northwest Louisiana culture and history. Even the style of the builder. Great sports heroes here. His name is Shaquille O'Neal, basketball player for LSU. That building there is an exact replica of Shaquille O'Neal's tennis shoe box. These brick streets were laid around the turn of the 20th century. Nashville has had brick streets since 1860. In the 1940s, the streets were about to be paved over until the ladies of the Nashville Historical Society laid in the streets to prevent the equipment from rolling through. Ever since then, it's been known as the ladies of the Nashville Historical Society. In recent years, a compromise was made. The street had gotten so bad we couldn't hardly drive on it anymore. So what they did is raised up all the old bricks, built a modern road bed underneath, dropped those old bricks back down on that modern road bed. Now we got an old street on top of the new street. Within about 1,000 years, it's going to confuse archaeology. The Cane River Candy Cup to our right's the newest store on Front Street. It's right next to the oldest store. Temporary hardware store back in 1863. Its owners continued to run their business in the state of Louisiana. If you look through these gates to the right here, you'll see something typical of the French quarters of New Orleans. That's called the carriageway. Three old gentlemen would take the carriage through to the courtyard in back, store it in the building to the rear called the carriage house. And this architecture to the right here is called the real church. Shops on the bottom story, red to the top. The chorus coming up on the right here was a location in Still Magnolias. This was Cruises West. Near the end of the Found Cruise Hub and opened a new shop up, it came a change. Now this next carriageway is now the showroom for Olivier's Fine Cypress Furniture. George Olivier makes antique reproductions from Heartwood Cypress, or George Olivier did make antique reproductions from Heartwood Cypress. He passed away recently, but his daughter, Shalon Olivier, who is back at the very back of that carriageway, is now carrying on the tradition of the family. Cane River Kitchenware to our right stays open when everybody else is closed. They have some good goods and plantation treasures. Come to Natchitoches, go through the very front door here, walk through the store, and step out the back door. You'll find a good cast iron spiral stairway back there. Be sure you get a good look at it before you leave town. It's one of a kind. It used to be two of a kind. It and its mate was put on a truck. Be used during the World War II scrap iron drive. Luckily that one fell off the truck. We're about to turn on Rue Saint-Denis, or Saint-Denis Street, the street named for the founder of Natchitoches. Whenever a French soldier was knighted, he'd be given the title of Lord of a city in France. And Louis Huchereau was given the title of Sieur de Saint-Denis. Saint-Denis is a suburb of Paris. You'll recall after the recent Paris terrorist attacks, the terrorists were attracted to Saint-Denis. That's where they were engaged in battle. Coming up on our left here, Gift of the Lord. It's a number of shops under one roof. It's a crap mini mall. Coming up on our right is Lagniappe. It's a crap market. Lagniappe means a little something extra. Lagniappe is a Francoization of the Spanish word, lanapa. Right next to Lanyap is Yoki's Gallery. Yoki's is a showroom for local arts. Another great place to shop down here on Saint Denis is trade-in antiques. I like pointing this building out to the left here because of the beautiful architecture. It was a bank when it was built in the early 20th century. Now a law office. That architectural style is called Beaux-Arts or Fine Arts. That's a high-style Beaux-Arts style building. It has almost every feature that could be found on a Beaux-Arts style structure. What I really like about it is behind the beautiful Corinthian columns there, you'll see molded against the wall shadows of the columns. Coming up on the right here in the sidewalk, you'll see stones with names inscribed. And the names are people who were either born in Natchitoches, like Joe Dubars and Pat Listak, or folks who lived here long enough to make a difference, like the cast and crew of Steel Magnolias. This is Natchitoches' Saint Denis Walk of Honor. And my favorite stones are all the way down here, second and third from the end. They are John Ford and John Wayne. They were here back in 1958 filming a John Ford directed cavalry classic called The Horse Soldiers. It told the story of Colonel Grierson's raid on Newton Station, Mississippi during the Vicksburg campaign. If you'll recall, or if you've seen the movie, you probably recall there was another great actor in it by the name of William Holden. But you won't find a stone there for William Holden. While William Holden was in town, he called Natchitoches a rinky-dink little town and refused to stay here. He drove from Shreveport every day. There just wasn't enough action in Natchitoches for him. He spent all his time at the Whiskey A Go-Go up at the Bossier Strip in Shreveport. Now, the Creole dish that Natchitoches is famous for is called a Natchitoches meat pie. It's a blend of beef and pork cooked up in some good seasoning and spices, and it's fried up in a pastry shell. Lavion coming up on the right here. It's a great place to get the meat pie. I must warn you, it is bad luck to leave Natchitoches without eating meat pies. Up ahead to the right, the Richardsonian Romanesque the old courthouse. If you look in the clock tower just below the clock, you'll see a chamber, and that's where the hanging gallows are located. The gallows are no longer there, they're now in a private museum. There are some folks who like to see those gallows go back up, just as a reminder for everyone to be good. If you look over here to your left, you'll see the oldest church in Natchitoches. It was built in 1856 as a cathedral for the Natchitoches Diocese. That's the Church of the Immaculate Conception. No longer a cathedral, it has been designated a minor basilica, Church of Historic Significance. It has several bishops buried within it, also several nuns that passed away while nursing victims of a yellow fever epidemic. And it's got a unique spiral stairway leading up to its choir loft that has no center support. We do recommend you check it out while you're here. It is open to the public. On the corner coming up on the left here is the church rectory. It was built in the 1880s in New Orleans. in the Italianate style architecture. It was shipped up here in pieces on the steamboat. We call it Natchez's first pre-fab house. Northwestern was not the first college in Natchez. If you look over the rooftops, through the treetops, behind the rectory here, you'll see the old St. Joseph College. It was established in the early 1800s, and it was a seminary or institution of higher learning for young Creole gentlemen. To the right of it is the Bishop Martin residence. Bishop Martin, along with the troop of Texas Cavalry, saved Natchez from being burned as the Yankees retreated during the Red River campaign. Coming up on our left is the oldest Protestant church in Natchez. It's the Trinity Parish Episcopal Church. The cornerstone of that church was laid in 1857 by the Bishop of the Western Diocese of Louisiana, Bishop Leonidas Pope. Bishop Pope became known as the fighting bishop when he became a lieutenant general in the Confederate Army during the Civil War. Bishop Pope distinguished himself in Shiloh and later lost his life in the Atlanta campaign. Fort Pope was named Bishop Pope. That was also a location in Steel Magnolias. That's where they finally got Weezer to attend church. So coming up on our right here is the First Baptist Church. It was built in the 1920s in an eclectic style of architecture. It combined elements of Romanesque revival and Byzantine architecture. The front steps there are called open arm stairways. They welcome people to the church. As we make this turn here, look down 2nd Street to our right, just past the library. You'll see a gray house built in 1892 in a stick-style architecture, and it's called the Chaplain House. The Chaplain House was a location in Steel Magnolias also. That was Aunt Fern's home. Aunt Fern was played by Ann Westworth. She baked the armadillo cake and also babysat. If you'll recall a scene where Malin got in her car and drove through the swamps and bayous of Louisiana to pick up a grandchild, she picked him up right there. She took the scenic route to get here. This street we're on now is called Tulane Street, named for Francois Grout. Tulane was his nickname. Tulane was one of our frontier figures here in Natchez. He was a Métis. He was half French, half Indian, and he spoke fluently the Mobilian language, which was the lingua franca, or language of commerce and diplomacy among southeastern Indians. Because he was fluent in Mobilian, he was very important in helping maintain peace between the Europeans and the Indians of the area. He first served as an interpreter during the Spanish colonial period. Later he became an interpreter for Dr. John Sibley. Dr. John Sibley was an American living in Natchez at the time of the Louisiana Purchase. Because he was already here, his good friend Thomas Jefferson just decided to make Sibley Louisiana's, or the territory of Orleans, first American Indian agent. A lot of people thought Tulane was a poor man due to the fact that he was a frontiersman and just wore buckskin and homespun clothes. What they didn't realize is he had outstanding business going on in Indian trade, and he was also a cattleman. He had a large vastery, or French cattle ranch, up in the Lake Biscayne country in present-day Bossier Parish. He'd drive about 1,000 head of cattle a year down to New Orleans. As we go through this intersection down here, if you look back to your left down Front Street, you'll see that the street is nice and straight. But as we turn right on Jefferson Street, you're going to see it's kind of curvy. The downtown part of Natchez was developed by the Americans. They laid the town out in a north, south, east, west grid pattern. But the French laid their part of town out along the high ground running alongside the waterway. So their streets ran more or less parallel to the old river bayou. The downtown Natchez was developed on old French plantation land. The plantation house, this big white house coming up on the right here, it's called the Prud'homme Rookier. It was built in 1790. It was originally built in a raised Creole cottage style architecture, and it was built in a Boussiage entrepotteau construction. Boussiage between posts. It's Boussiage, but it doesn't look Boussiage. That's because in the 1830s, board siding was put over the Boussiage and cypress posts. The columns were changed, dormers were put in the roof up there. It was remodeled into the Greek Revival style house that you now see. It belongs to the Natchez Service League. They maintain it through the sale of cookbooks, Louisiana Living, Cane River Cuisine, and Steel Magnolias in the kitchen. And it is available for weddings and special events. The Prud'homme Rookier is a plantation house. The pontoon page coming up on the right here is a townhouse. A townhouse is a home that was owned by a plantation owner. It's a place where he could stay while in town doing business or in the off-season for agriculture. Pontoon page means Aunt Hough Page. She is a plantation owner's daughter. She was widowed at a very early age. She didn't like plantation living, so her father let her stay in the townhouse and look after her. She also looked after several of her nephews who lived there with her while in town getting her education. Now this house coming up on the right here is a variation of what's called a shotgun house. That's a variation because this one is a double barrel shotgun house. Also called a shotgun duplex. They are quite common down in New Orleans. Now directly ahead of us you'll see a house that looks like it would fit in very nicely in the French quarters of New Orleans. That's called the McQuire Townhouse. It was built in the 1830s. That architectural style is called Creole Townhouse style. Thomas McQuire was a French Creole gentleman that fell in love with an African girl by the name of Maria Theresa Point. She didn't belong to him. She belonged to the Saint-Denis family. But he did manage to leave her. He kept her for many years, and while she was in his possession, he fathered several of her children. He was very much in love with Point. But the Catholic Church didn't exactly approve of his relationship. The priest stayed on him about living in sin with the slave girl. Eventually the priest told him that if he didn't give her up, marry a white French Creole woman, that he was going to be excommunicated from the church. Well, Thomas McQuire did give up Point, but before he did, he purchased her freedom. He gave her a large sum of money, gave her a large piece of land down Cane River. She acquired more land through a Spanish land grant from the King of Spain. What she did with her money is she first bought herself some slaves. She put those slaves to work, bringing in a crop so she could make an income. Then she started purchasing the freedom of her children around the colony. She brought them all back to Yucca Plantation, now known as Melrose. Her sons became the patriarch of the Creole colored colony here on Cane River. This is their townhouse. A lot of people are not aware of it, but in the antebellum South it was quite common for wealthy people of color to live in large, fine homes right among the wealthy white citizens of the city. Up till a few years ago, there was another house here that looked like it belonged in the French quarters as well. It was called the Levy East House. It was about the woman that owned it got a little upset about it. She burned it down. Fortunately, we have people here in town that have a good sense of history. They put in a new home that has a nice historic look to it. We're about to cross Bayou Amulet, or Bayou of the Mules. This is where French traders would bring their mule strings to water when they'd come in off the old El Camino Real from Texas. It was later changed by an American map maker to Bayou Amulet, or Bayou of the Medallion. In those days, there was a lot more water in the bayou because of the log jam on Red River. That cactus was developed on a series of islands. When the log jam was removed, the bayou drained. Now our bayous aren't much more than ditches. Good, how you doing? This house coming up on our right here, a song Louisiana, built in the 1890s. Now, it was originally called the Worcester House. The Worcester family had a little corner store on this lot coming up on our right here, where this raised Creole cottage style home now stands. During Prohibition, the Worcester store was a very prosperous place. You could go in the front door of the Worcester store, go to a little room in back, knock on the door, they'd recognize you, they'd let you in. There you could have you a cold drink. The Worcester store was Natchez's own little station. Now to our left is the Cook's Taylor House. This was built in the 1880s. It was originally built out on the edge of the street, like the houses down in New Orleans. But the French houses were built on the edge of the street, and the Cooks were not French. Well, the garden district was becoming very popular back in those days. What the Americans in the garden district did was built their houses further back on the lot, had large front lawns. Those front lawns were known as gardens. Well, the Cooks decided they wanted to be more like the garden district. So what they did is slid rollers underneath that large house, hitched up a lot of oxen, had those oxen pull it all the way back into the yard there. They became more like the garden district at that point. It's now a real nice bed and breakfast. It's known as the Still Magnolia House. That was the home of Drum and Malin Eatonton in the movie Still Magnolias. Notice the round brick columns there. That's where Weezer tied up that St. Bernard that was losing its hair while Drum stood in the doorway and antagonized him. Weezer lived next door in a townhouse built in the 1830s called the LeMay House. The LeMay House is owned by the city. It's managed by the Association for Preservation of Historic Natchitoches, and it is open to the public by appointment only. Now, the garden in back is open to the public all the time. There used to be a bench in that garden behind the LeMay House. It was on that bench that Marie and Weezer had their little push-up bike. And those trees there beside the LeMay House were also very significant in the movie. That's where Drum fired his pistol to scare the blackbirds. Those blackbirds weren't really blackbirds. They were pigeons dyed black. They were trained to be picked up in another location. Now the back here is where the wedding reception was held. Beyond the barbecue pit there and that wrought iron fence is a swimming pool. That's where the magnolia blossoms were floating. Drum and Weezer argued over who the magnolia tree belonged to. In that first garage stall, the groom's cake was served. It was an armadillo-shaped cake with gray icing and blood red center. Weezer chopped the tail of that cake off, gave it to Drum. Drum announced it was the best piece of tail he ever had. The far garage stall, the large one, where the bar was set up. That's where Nell met her future husband, Sammy. Sammy fixed the Nell the best cherry coke in the history of the world. Over here to the right is the gardens of the Rusty House Bed and Breakfast. The Rusty House Bed and Breakfast was built around 1920. It was the home of the son of the people that had the speakeasy on the corner there. Just ahead of us to the right there is the Bayou Amulet House. It was built in the 1850s, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about that house a little later in the tour. This house coming up on our right here, I give two dates to. The top part of the house was built in 1836 in a Greek Revival style architecture, and the bottom part of the house was built in the late 1960s. At that time, one of our local home designers, Mr. James Herron, had a little project going on where he was buying old houses. He would jack them up. He'd build a above ground cellar, drop the house down on that cellar, make the house look more like a raised Creole cottage style house. The cellar would be set up with modern accommodations while historic accuracy was maintained in the upper part of the house. That house is now known as the Blessed House. The former owners of the home, the Chastain family, had a daughter named Ashley. And Ashley was diagnosed with a brain tumor, not given any hope of surviving. Well, one of our local priests came and prayed with Ashley. When Ashley went to get a CT scan to see how the cancer was advancing, they found that there was actually no cancer at all in her system. Because of that, her parents named this house the Blessed House. Not only is Ashley still living, but she has 3 children of her own. Now this street we're coming up on is called the Mesier Street, or the Mesier Street, named for Anthony de Mesier. He was quite a character. He was a incorrigible child growing up in France. He was such a bad child, his parents put him on a ship, sent him to Canada. Well, he got to Canada, learned the ways of the wilderness. He decided he was going to travel down to Louisiana. So he got in a canoe, started heading south through the river systems. Along the way, he was taken in by a tribe of Indians. He was quite a charismatic figure. Before long, he had pretty much won that tribe of Indians over. They eventually made him a chief. He stayed with the Indians for a brief period of time. Then he headed on south. When he arrived in New Orleans, he had Indian tattoos from the top of his head down to his feet. He was quite a unique character. He had such a good report to make that he was sent back to France to report to the French government what he had learned while living among the Indians. While he was there, they were so impressed with all those Indian tattoos that he became kind of a sensation on the French king's court. Well, he eventually made it back to Louisiana and was assigned up to Natchitoches. Well, St. Denis had no sons, only daughters. He decided that de Mesier should be the husband of one of his daughters, and he became a protege to St. Denis. Well, when St. Denis passed in 1744, de Mesier inherited St. Denis' position as commandant of Natchitoches. While serving as commandant of Natchitoches, not only did he have to deal with Indians, but he also had to deal with Spanish. Well, the Spanish were highly impressed with his abilities dealing with the Indians and his diplomacy with the Spanish. When the Spanish acquired Louisiana in 1763, after the French lost the French-Indian Wars, they just decided to keep de Mesier on as commandant of Natchitoches. He was so impressed with his service under the Spanish that they decided to make him governor of Texas. So in late 1770s, he started heading out toward San Antonio. Just before arriving in San Antonio, he got into a bad accident on horseback. He ended up dying of his injuries, and because of that, he never became the governor of Texas. Now, directly ahead of the carriage is the greenhouse. That's the only greenhouse in Natchitoches. It's actually yellow. Green was the family name. They built that house in the early 1900s. And they built it in a Queen Anne revival style, which is what gives it its present name, the Queen Anne Bed Spread. It's one of three houses on Pine Street that are now known as the Painted Lady. second of the painted ladies is Green Gators. To our left here. It was originally the Duke No Plantation townhouse and then the Sutton house. It now belongs to Miss Lauren Kohler. Lauren is a Vermonter. She always wanted to be a Southern belle, so she bought her a nice little historic cottage in a historic Southern city. Went into the B&B business. Her husband, Dr. Ed Kohler, always wanted to be a cowboy. So he bought him a place out in Taos, New Mexico. They spend the year between the two places. They spend spring and fall here in Natchitoches. They spend the hot summer in Taos. Also, they go there this time of year because they love to ski. Coming up on the left here is the Flochet Plantation townhouse. The Duquesnoys and the Flochets were neighboring plantations down Cane River. The two families united when a couple of their children fell in love with each other and married one another. And this house was built for them. That's how the townhouses ended up being neighboring houses as well. This park on the corner to our left here never had a house on it. Little research was done to find out why, and it was discovered it was an old slave cemetery. Rather than doing a cemetery removal, it was turned into a nice park and garden. If you look down at the end of Pine Street, you'll see a natural terrace rises up. It was up on that natural terrace that the early French settlers actually established the post here at Natchitoches. That's where the fort and the early church was. In that church, at the church there was a cemetery, and that cemetery ended up growing out all the way across that terrace. That that cemetery is known as the American Cemetery, and it is the oldest European cemetery in the Louisiana Purchase area. At the cemetery, you'll find French Creoles, Spanish Creoles, Creoles of color, slaves, free blacks, and Indians all buried there. But it's called the American Cemetery because after the Louisiana Purchase, an American was finally buried in that cemetery. After that, the Creoles would no longer be buried there. They called it the American Cemetery, and the name stayed with it. Now down at the end of Pine Street to the left there, you'll see a white house, columns, in a Greek Revival style. That's the old Guy Plantation house. The Guy Plantation was actually up in Mansfield, Louisiana, and that house was about to be destroyed. Some of our local preservationists found out about it. They purchased the home. They moved it to that location. They restored it, turned it into a real nice inn. Now this is Percy Street. Percy Street was the first street I ever lived on in Natchitoches. I spent a lot of time in this neighborhood at the Dow. First when my niece lived over here. My brother was in Vietnam. When my family moved over here from Winfield, we just decided to move into the same house that my brother had rented. There's this blue house coming up on the left here. Our neighbor directly across the street, coming up on the right here, was Reverend Jolly Harper. He was the pastor of the First United Methodist Church. And that house was the Methodist parsonage. The church eventually decided that the pastor needed a more modern home. This house was sold as a historic property, and it was turned into a nice bed and breakfast called the Parsonage Bed and Breakfast. That's while I lived on this street, my favorite house was this one coming up on the right here. It's the Laureate House, and it was built in the 1830s. It now belongs to a movie star by the name of Miss Joanna Cassidy. Joanna came here right after Hurricane Katrina. She was supposed to film the movie down in New Orleans called American Standard, which aired on Lifetime Network. Because of the storm, they weren't able to shoot down there, so they just shot it here in Natchez. And when she arrived, she fell in love with the town, decided she wanted to go into the bed and breakfast business. So she bought a little house down Poet Street, named it the Bayou Amulet House Bed and Breakfast. She restored it, went into the B&B business. Well, while she was on Poet Street, she became good friends with Miss Lou Rock. And Lou had a daughter in Tennessee that she wanted to go live with. Lou sold the house to Joanna. Joanna ran this as a B&B for a while. But eventually Joanna got 2 good television series roles, and they kept her away from Natchez for a good long time. One was in California, the other up in Canada. And that kept her away for a long time. For a while, she'd lost interest in the town. She had the house up for sale. But last Memorial Day, she showed up, pulled the for sale sign down. Then she left. Didn't know what was going on with her. Well, she came back during the tour of homes. Cleaned it up real nice. Showed it on the tour of homes. I believe she's decided to keep the house here. Hope she retires here. She is a great asset to the city. Coming up on our left here is Cunningham Cottage. Built around 1928. That's an example of a Normandy-style cottage. And on the right here is built around 1930. That's an example of a Tudor-style house. This house coming up on the right here is the Judge Porter House, built in 1912 for just $1,800. That looks a lot older. It was built so inefficient because it was built from salvage materials from a much older home. Follow the top gallery up there all the way around and see if you see anything unusual about it. There is no door to that top gallery. You have to access it by stepping in and out of the window. Coming up on the left here is the old Brazil Plantation townhouse. It was built in the late 1800s. It's still got its original roof on it. That roof is called pressed tin. A pressed tin roof will last forever as long as you keep a good coat of paint on it. Better get a good coat of paint on it soon, because it is starting to rust up. The house was Natchez's first B&B. It was purchased in the late 1980s by Mr. Bert Froby. He moved here from New Orleans, opened it up, called it the Fleur de Lis Bed and Breakfast. People liked Bert, they liked what he was doing. They decided they wanted to do it too. B&B started opening up all over Natchez. Eventually Natchez was declared the B&B capital of Louisiana. This park coming up in the hollow to our left, city park. Recently had some renovations done to it. There used to be a Caddo Indian mound located there. Archaeologists excavated the site. Now you can see the artifacts at the Williamson Museum on the northwestern campus. Also on the northwestern campus are the Louisiana Folk Life Center and the Orville Hankey Art Gallery. They're all open, free to the public. Now across the park, you'll see a Spanish colonial revival style building with a tile roof and stucco siding. That's the old Doodle Railroad depot. The Doodle Railroad ran across north central Louisiana, connecting old sawmill towns with the main line here in Natchez. The depot for many years was Natchez City Hall. Now it's the Natchez City Court. In the 1990s, Mr. Joe Sapate presided there at the old depot building. Joe was the father of tourism here in Natchez. I used to pull an old mare trolley up to the front door there. Joe would look out there and see us. He'd come running out. He'd stick everybody real good. He'd stick them with an I Love Natchez sticker. He eventually retired and passed away. It'll be a long time before we have a mayor as good as Joe Sapate. Directly ahead of us is the First United Methodist Church, organized in the 1880s. Its first minister was the Reverend Thomas Jefferson Hough. He was my great-great-uncle. This house coming up on the left behind the church here is the Shamar Donahoe house. It was built in the 1780s. That is a classic example of the second phase Creole cottage style architecture. It's different from the rock house. It doesn't have the steep hip roof design. It's got the gabled end. That's what defines the difference between the two architectural styles. But like the rock house, it does have interior chimneys, and it's got doors coming out from every room. Now that is a Boussiage Poto constructed house. The Boussiage is covered over. That was to keep mud daubers from building nests within the wall. Now over here to the right, here to the right is the W Plantation Townhouse. W spelled D-E-B-L-I-E-U-X. A lot of our French Creole names here have been anglicized. The Cloutiers became Cloutier. The Prudhomme became Prudhomme. the doublures became W, and the Perot's became payroll. Spanish names in here that have been anglicized. The Sepulvados became Sepulvados. The Padillas became Patties. And the Ibarbos became Ebar. Behind these houses to our right is Cane River. Cane River was the main artery of Red River, and Axis was established here because this was head of navigation on Red River. Starting here and extending 35 miles upstream was the largest log jam ever recorded. It was called the Great Red River Route. Geologists aren't sure how old it was or what caused it. They hypothesized it was about 1,000 years old. Started by earthquakes in India, started by earthquakes and floods. The Caddo Indians that lived along the river believed it'd been there forever. The Caddos also believed it crawled up the river like a snake. It did appear to. What actually happened was the foot of it would become old and rotted. It'd slough off old materials at about the same rate the upper end would accumulate new materials. That was a rate of about 1 mile per year. It started down somewhere near Alexandria. By the time the French arrived in the Red River Valley, it had advanced all the way up to Natchitoches. By the time the log jam was eventually removed, it had advanced all the way up into Arkansas. In 1836, a man named Henry Miller Shreve brought a fleet of steamboats up the river with the mission of removing the log jam. Shreve was responsible for developing the shallow draft vessel with a high-pressure steam engine on it that stacked decks up on top of that shallow draft hull. It was that design that made commercial steamboat navigation of the shallow, swift western rivers possible. He was also responsible for developing a boat for cleaning up the rivers, making them safe for navigation. It was called a snag boat. A snag boat was designed like a catamaran. It had twin hulls, each with its own engine and paddle, and they were connected by an iron deck. The deck was used as a ram to push the snag up as far as possible. A cable would be attached to the snag. It'd be towed up onto the deck with a steam-powered winch and sawed up into small pieces that were thrown over the side and allowed to wash out to sea. Using a fleet of snag boats, Shreve was temporarily able to clear the log jam out. But when he did, the river current started speeding up and started looking for a shorter, more direct way to Gulf of Mexico. Red River found it just a couple of miles to our east in an old distributary channel called the Rigolette de Bondu, Little River of the Good God. Red River started flowing through that old channel, eventually abandoned this one altogether, and left Natchitoches high and dry as a port. They could only get steamboats in here during times of high water. By the early 20th century, this was nothing more than a trickle. Cattle grazed all through the bottom of it. So 4 miles upstream a dam was put in. 30 miles downstream another dam was put in. Now we got a 34-mile long narrow lake that just looks like a river. It's spring fed, it's pretty much constant level. People fish, ski, and swim in it. And in the spring, the Northern University send the rowing teams here to practice. They say it's the finest practice stream in North America. If y'all want to have a little fun on the river yourself, rent paddle and pedal type kayaks, plus stand-up paddle boards from Cane River Paddle and Pedal down on the river bank. Well, I'd like to thank y'all very much for visiting that, taking a ride with me. What I'd like to point out as my conclusion is Natchitoches was a frontier satellite of New Orleans. And a lot of New Orleans culture moved to Natchitoches. But what you'll find different about Natchitoches as opposed to New Orleans is in the American part of town, and like we're in now, you'll find a lot of the French culture within this sector of town. Down in the French part of town, you'll find a lot of American culture. So you'll find that Natchitoches is a much more blended culture than what you'll find in New Orleans. I'd like to thank y'all very much for visiting Natchitoches, taking the ride with us. Hope you have a real good time while you're here. If you enjoyed the tour, please tell all your friends about us. And if you really enjoyed it, give us a little mention on TripAdvisor. Thank y'all very much.